Good morning to all the students present over here. I'm Mukund Soni and I welcome you for the chemistry class on 9 December for the ninth grade. The topic today we want to discuss is about how to write the chemical formula from the name given. So my dear students, I wish you happy learning and let's move forward. Dear students, we can write the formula by using the various ions. We are all aware that the ions are of majorly two types. One is monoatomic ions, you can see here. These all are the ions which are monoatomic. Monoatomic. That means they have only one atom present in them. These are also the monoatomic ions. They have only one atom present in them. But when you look at these ions, they are polyatomic. You can see it is clearly written here that they are the polyatomic ions. That means they have more than one atoms present in them. They have more than one atoms present in them. So what should we understand by this? That you can see here, let us count, let us identify what is the number of atoms present in NH4 plus. So 4 atoms of hydrogen and 1 atom of nitrogen, total 5 atoms are present. Same way my dear students, here 1 atom of oxygen, 1 atom of hydrogen, 2 atoms are present. Here my dear students, 3 atoms of oxygen and 1 atom of nitrogen, 4 atoms are present. 4 atoms are present. Here, 3 atoms of oxygen, 1 atom of carbon, 4 plus 1 atom of hydrogen. Total 5 atoms are present. Here, my dear students, in carbonate ion, we have 3 atoms of oxygen and 1 atom of carbon. Total 4 atoms are present. Here in sulfate ion, my dear students, we have 3 atoms of oxygen and 1 atom of sulfur. 4 atoms are present. Here in sulfate, this was the sulfite ion, I'm sorry, and this is the sulfate ion where we have the 4 atom of oxygen and 1 atom of sulfur, that is 5 atoms are present. In phosphate ion, 4 atom of oxygen and 1 atom of phosphorus, so total 5 atoms are present, and this is how we can identify the number of atoms present in the ion, and that is why, and you can see that all the ions have more than one atoms, and that is why these ions are known as the polyatomic ions. Now there is one very important rule about polyatomic ions. When we write their formula, please remember, when we write their formula and when we need polyatomic ions more than one, if the number of polyatomic ions are needed more than one, then we should write their we should write there, my dear students, if the number of polyatomic ion is more than 1, in that case, my dear students, we will have to write bracket around them. So, my dear students, whenever we have more than one polyatomic ions, we will have to write the bracket around them. That is what I am writing here. When, when we need, आप लोग को दिख रहा है ना बच्चों? When we need polyatomic ions, when we need polyatomic ions in more than one numbers, when we need polyatomic ions more than one in number, while writing the chemical, while writing the chemical formula, we should write bracket around them, my dear students. So when we need these polyatomic ions in more than one number, in that case we will have to write the bracket around these polyatomic ions. So please remember that whenever we need these polyatomic ions in more than one number, we will have to put bracket around them while writing their chemical formula. This is the basic and the fundamental idea about the chemical writing the chemical formula. Now let us understand how to write the chemical formula. So let us understand the process of writing the chemical formula. We should learn these various steps by which we can write the chemical formula one by one. So let us start with the first step. The first step says that we need to identify the name of the ions present in the name of the compound. For example, I have given you four various name of the compounds. From that we will find out the cation and then we will find out the anion. The name of the compound we can divide it into the two parts. When we divide the name of the compound in two parts, the left part or the first part represents the cation and the second part represents the anion. For example, in sodium chloride, the cation is sodium ion which is Na plus and the anion is chloride ion which is Cl minus. For ammonium carbonate, the cation is ammonium ion NH4 plus, whereas the anion is carbonate ion CO3 minus 2. Same way, my dear students, for copper sulfate, the cation is copper 2 ion, that is Cu plus 2, and anion is sulfate ion, that is SO4 minus 2. For calcium oxide, the cation is Ca plus 2, whereas the anion is oxide ion O minus 2. So this is how, my dear students, we first need to identify the cation and anion present into the given name or present into the compound. Now, my dear students, we want to study about the second step. In the first step, you can see here that we have identified the cation and anion present into the compound. So the first step is done, that during the first step we have found out the cation and anion present into the compound. Now what do we do in the second step? Let us study. In the second step, my dear students, we write an identified cation and anion, we write their symbol, and under the ion symbol we write their charges without positive or negative sign. And then we take the LCM of the charges of the both the ions. For example, in sodium chloride, we have the positive ion Na plus, negative ion Cl minus. Under that, we write the charge present into the ion. For example, Na plus, that means plus 1 charge, Cl minus, that is minus 1 charge. But without putting the positive or negative sign, we should just write the charge under the ions. Same way for NH4 plus, we write 1. For CO3 minus 2, that is in the case of the ammonium carbonate, we write the charge here 1 and here 2. Same way for copper sulfate, as you can see that for copper the charge is plus 2 and for sulfate the charge is minus 2, but without the positive or negative sign, we just write the charges or under their names. So in the second step, we write the symbol of the identified ions and then we write their charges under these ions. Now we need to take LCM of these charges. Now, my dear students, it is not necessary that each and every child knows how to take the LCM. So if you are not able to understand the concept of LCM, you can understand it here. I have given you the table this way. In most of the cases, we would be needing all this kind of LCM only. So my dear students, we can easily understand first, the LCM of 1 and 1 is always 1. The LCM of 2 and 2 is always 2. The LCM of 3 and 3 is always 3. So my dear students, while writing the LCM, we can easily understand that LCM of 1 and 1 is 1, 2 and 2 is 2, 3 and 3 is 3. Now while taking the LCM of the different numbers, we just need to multiply them. For example, LCM of 1 and 2 is 2 because 2 ones are 2 or 1 twos are 2. Same way LCM of 1 is 3 because 1 threes are 3. LCM of 2 and 3 is 6 because 2 threes are 6. LCM of 3 and 2 is 6 because 3 twos are 6. LCM of 2 and 1 is 2 because 2 ones are 2. LCM of 3 and 1 is 3 because 3 ones are 3. Just you need to remember this, that LCM of the two same number is that particular number. LCM of 1 and 1 is 1, LCM of 2 and 2 is 2, and LCM of 3 and 3 is 3. Otherwise, you just need to get the LCM by just multiplying them. So please, my dear students, understand this, that you can easily calculate the LCM by this table so that you can understand it well. Now, my dear students, we want to move to the next step, which is the step number 3. In the third step, my dear students, after determining the LCM, we need to draw a line under the ions and charges, leaving a gap where one more number can be written and make a box there. So you can see here that we have written the ions here. These are all ions. Then, my dear students, we just write the charges under them, and then we draw a line by leaving a gap, and in this gap we just put a box there. So here, my dear students, we put a box under the charges. Now in these boxes, my dear students, we are going to write something. We want to write a number here in this box which is multiplied by the charge so that we get the answer is equal to LCM. So you can see that I have drawn the multiplication sign around it so that you can easily calculate the number that should be placed into the box. So in the third step, my dear students, as we have written the ions for the various compounds, then we have written charges, then we should write, or we should put a box, and then we should write a line, and then we should write the LCM that we have got for the number under the line, and then we need to find out the number that should be written into the box. Now let's move to the step number 4. In the fourth step, my dear students, write an appropriate number in the box that we multiply with the charge so that we get the answer equal to the LCM. Then draw a curved arrow from the iron to the box. You can see here, my dear students, that we have put these boxes. In these boxes, we need to write the number that has to be multiplied with these charges so that we can get the answer LCM. Let us do this practice by using these boxes. For example, you want to get the answer 1. So with what number you multiply 1 so that you get answer 1? Dear students, मैं आपसे पूछ रहा हूँ 1 is multiplied with what number so that we can get answer 1? Dear students, can you hear? 1. So we should write 1 here. 1 should be multiplied with what number so that we can get answer 1? 1. 1 should be multiplied with what number so that we get the answer 2?
2.
Very good. 2 should be multiplied with what number so that we can get the answer 2?
1.
Very good. 1. Absolutely correct. So here we should put 2, here we should put 1. 2 should be multiplied with what number so that we get answer 2?
1.
Very good. 2 should be multiplied with what number to get answer 2? 1.
1.
Very good. So we'll put the number here. Then in the next step, what we need to do, we need to put the arrow this way on the boxes. It is very easy and very interesting. See here. It is very easy and very interesting. Please understand this. So you can see that I have done it. In this fourth step, you can see that I have written those numbers and then I have made arrow towards them. Now here also there is one very important instruction for you. This instruction I have already given, but once again, the number in the box represents the number of ions needed for writing the correct formula of the compound. This number, what you get in the box, is actually the number of that particular ions needed to write the correct formula. So if you want to write the correct formula, for sodium chloride, you need one Na and one Cl. If you want to write the correct formula for ammonium carbonate, you need two ammonium ion and one carbonate ion. If you want to write the correct formula for copper sulfate, you need one copper ion and one sulfate ion. This is how, my dear students, by writing the number in the box, you determine the number of ions required to write the correct formula. Now, the next step, which is the step number 5. Remember any ion or cation, remember any anion or cation if it is polyatomic ion. That means it has more than one atom, and if such ion is needed is more than one, then under the charge the number is written in the box. If the number is 2 or 3 something etc., then we need to write that ion in the bracket. Please remember that, see here in the ammonia, you can see that it is the poly. See, this is sodium ion is monoatomic ion, chloride ion is monoatomic ion, ammonium ion is polyatomic ion, carbonate ion is polyatomic ion, copper ion is monoatomic ion, sulfate ion is polyatomic ion. So you can even see that ammonium ion, carbonate ion and sulfate ion are polyatomic ions. But though they are polyatomic ion, sulfate ion is needed in one amount, carbonate ion is also needed in one amount, but ammonium ion, which is polyatomic ion, is needed in two numbers. So we need to put the bracket around the ammonium ion, and then we need to write this 2 here. Then, my dear students, the next step, using the number in the box, we write the formula. We use these numbers in the box to write the formula. If number in the box is 1, we do not write 1 in the formula. Suppose here we have number 1. So with after Na we do not write Na1 and Cl1. No, that is what it is not required. If the number in the box is 1, we do not write that number. So you can see that here when Na is needed 1, we just write Na. If Cl is needed 1, we just write Cl. If CO3 is needed 1, we just write CO3. If copper is needed 1, we just write Cu. If sulfate is needed 1, we just write SO4. But when they are needed in more than one number, we write that number. And here NH4 is a polyatomic ion, so we write 2 here. Please remember that while writing the chemical formula, we use this number in the boxes and then we write the formula. This is the formula for sodium chloride. Same way, this is the formula for ammonium carbonate. This is the formula for copper sulfate. Now, there are few things which I want you to know that the bracket, when we have the polyatomic ion, and if the polyatomic ion is needed in more than one number, you can see that we put bracket because NH4 plus is a polyatomic ion and NH4 plus is needed in more than one number. But when it comes to the polyatomic ion CO3 minus 2, or when it comes to the polyatomic ion SO4 minus 2, there is no bracket. We do not write any bracket because it is required in one in number. So when the polyatomic ions are needed only one in number, we do not put bracket. Once again, we do not write 1 in the formula if there is 1 is written in the box. When we write the formula, we do not write Na1 and Cl1. We simply write NaCl. We do not write Cu1 and SO41. No, we just write CuSO4. So please remember that we do not write 1 in the formula when there is 1 is written in the box. Then next point, in ammonium carbonate NH4 twice CO3, as ammonia is polyatomic ion and it is needed 2, that is more than 1, we put bracket around it while writing the chemical formula, and then we write the number outside the box. So this is how we write the chemical formula, my dear students. Now let us understand some more examples so that you can understand it better. The first example, we write it for the aluminum hydroxide. So you have two ions, aluminum ion and hydroxide ion. Aluminum ion symbol is Al plus 3 and hydroxide ion symbol is OH minus. You say, from where do you get this symbol, sir? So these symbols are obtained from here, my dear students. You can see that this is the aluminum ion Al plus 3 and this is the hydroxide ion OH minus 1. I will request you, my dear students, that you please learn these ions, their symbol with their charges. That is going to be very helpful to you in future for writing the chemical formula. So please learn these ions with their symbols. So you can see here that for aluminum ion we have written Al plus 3 and for hydroxide ion we have written OH minus 1. You can see aluminum ion is a monoatomic ion, whereas hydroxide ion is a polyatomic ion. Now, my dear students, we write the charges of these ions. So as aluminum ion has got plus 3 charge, we write 3 here. Hydroxide ion has got minus 1 charge, here we write 1. Now we take the LCM of 3 and 1. So LCM of 3 and 1 is 3. That is what we derive it from this table, my dear students, that the LCM of 3 and 1, the LCM of 3 and 1 is 3. So we just do the multiplication 3 ones are 3 and we get LCM. So please remember that LCM of 3 and 1 is 3. LCM of 2 and 2 is 2. LCM of 1 and 1 is 1. And LCM of 3 and 3 is 3. But LCM of 3 and 1 is 3. So we put a line here by taking some gaps. In that gaps we write a bracket, and in that bracket then we write the LCM for both of them. Now then we decide what is the number that we need to multiply with 3 to get the answer 3. So here we can write 3 ones are 3. Now here the charge is 1 and the LCM is 3. So what is that number that we multiply with 1 so that we get the answer 3? That is 1 3s are 3. Now we have got the number into the bracket that is ready with us. Now using this number in the bracket, we write the formula. Here you can see that hydroxide ion is a polyatomic ion. It is required 3 in number. So we need to put bracket around OH. So you can see here around the OH, we have put the bracket. Then we have written the number 3. As OH is a polyatomic ion, need more than 1. So we need to have the bracket. Then aluminum is needed 1, so we do not write Al1, we simply write Al. Then OH are needed in 3, so we write AlOH3, which is read as AlOH thrice, and that is the formula for your aluminum hydroxide. This is how, my dear students, it's easy for you to write the formula for any compound. Now let's look at the another compound which is known as calcium phosphate. Calcium phosphate is made up of two ions, calcium ion and phosphate ion. Let us write their symbol. Calcium ion is Ca plus 2 and phosphate ion is PO4 minus 3. You can see that calcium ion has got only one atom, that is calcium, so it is monoatomic ion, whereas phosphate ion PO4 minus 3 is a polyatomic ion. Now we will write the charges under there. So you can see that we have written the charges, and the charge for Ca is plus 2, so we write 2. The charge on phosphate is minus 3, so we write 3. We are already aware that the LCM of 2 and 3 is 6. So my dear students, we draw a line, then under that line we write the LCM, then we put the multiplication sign, and then we write a box. Now we need to find out the number that needs to be multiplied with this number so that we get the answer is equal to LCM. So 2 what's a 6, my dear students? With what number do we need to multiply 2 so that we get 6? The answer is simple and the answer is 3. So here we multiply 2 with 3 so that we get 6. Here we multiply 3 with 2 so that we can get 6. Now we know that calcium is needed 3, but calcium is monoatomic ion, so we need not to put bracket around it and we simply write Ca3. But phosphate ion is a polyatomic ion, it is required more than 1, that is 2, so we put bracket. Under this bracket we write PO4 and then we write 2 outside the bracket. So the formula for calcium phosphate is Ca3PO4 twice. Phosphate ion, which is a polyatomic ion, so it is needed more than one, so we put bracket. So this is how, my dear students. Now I hope you understand. Let us give, or let us take one more example, that is about ammonium hydroxide. Ammonium hydroxide has got ammonium ion and hydroxide ion. When you have an ammonium ion, it is NH4 plus 1. When you have an hydroxide ion, it is OH minus 1. So my dear students, when you have ammonium ion NH4 plus 1, the charge is 1. When you have hydroxide ion OH minus 1, then charge is minus 1. So the charge is actually 1 and 1 in both the cases. Now we know that the LCM of 1 and 1 is 1. So we simply draw a line. Then under that line we write the LCM 1 and 1. Now 1, if we multiply, what is the number that we multiply with 1 so that we get answer 1? So that the number is 1. So 1 ones are 1, and then 1 ones are 1 again. That means the ammonium ion is needed in the formula 1, and the hydroxide ion needed in the formula is also 1. So without writing 1, we just write NH4OH, and this NH4OH is the chemical formula for ammonium hydroxide. Remember that both the ions are polyatomic ion, but they are needed only one, so there is no need to put any bracket around them, and we simply write NH4OH. Please understand this and remember this. It is very important for you to understand. Now, my dear students, here we have some complicated ions. See, the ions look same, the name looks same, but their symbols are different. For example, if you have hydride ion, it is H minus 1. If you have hydroxide ion, it is OH minus 1. If you have hydrogen ion, it is H plus 1. If you have nitrate ion, it is NO3 minus. If you have nitrite ion, then it is NO2 minus. If you have nitride ion, then it is N minus 3. If you have sulfate ion, that is SO4 minus 2. But you have sulfite ion, then it is SO3 minus 2. But you have sulfide ion, then it is S minus 2. If you have carbonate ion, then it is CO3 minus 2. But if you have hydrogen carbonate ion, then it is HCO3 minus 2. If you have phosphate ion, then it is PO4 minus 3. But if you have phosphide ion, then it is P minus 3, my dear students. Same way, my dear students, if you have carbide ion, that is either C minus 4 or it is going to be C plus 4. Please remember, if you have carbide ion, then it is going to be C minus 4 or C plus 4. Generally, it is minus 4, but with carbon ion, for carbon ion, we write C plus 4. For carbon ion, we write C plus 4, and for carbide ion, we write C minus 4. So by using this, we can write their formulas. But before that, let us look at few more examples, my dear students. So you can see that by using the method, I have written their formula. You can see hydrogen chloride is HCl, which is also known as hydrochloric acid. Aluminum hydride is AlH3. Magnesium hydroxide is MgOH twice. As this OH, which is polyatomic ion, it is needed more than one, so we put bracket and write 2 outside. Potassium nitrate, here potassium is need 1, NO3 is even needed 1, so we do not write 1 and we simply write KNO2. Potassium nitride, so we write KNO3 in potassium nitrate, but in case of potassium nitride, we write KNO2. Same way, if we write potassium nitride, then we write K3N. If we have hydrogen sulfate, which is H2SO4, it is also known as sulfuric acid. If you write hydrogen sulfide, which is H2SO3, it is also known as sulfurous acid. You can write hydrogen sulfide, which is H2S. If you write hydrogen oxide, it is nothing but your water and it is H2O. If you write aluminum carbide, it is Al4C3. Here carbide is C minus 4. Remember here carbide is C minus 4, my dear students, and aluminum is Al plus 3. So this is how you write aluminum carbide. Calcium hydrogen carbonate is CaHCO3 twice. This calcium hydrogen carbonate is also known as calcium bicarbonate. Sodium hydrogen carbonate is NaHCO3, which is also known as sodium bicarbonate. Now, my dear students, phosphide. So you can write calcium phosphide as Ca3P2. You can write magnesium phosphide as Mg3P2. So my dear students, this is how we can understand about the various formulas that we should study and we should understand while practicing them. Now my dear students, I am going to show you few more examples so that we can understand it well. Now suppose we want to write the formula for calcium oxide. Let's say it is for calcium oxide. My dear students, I am writing. Can you see this? बच्चों, मैं जो लिख रहा हूँ वो आपको दिख रहा है?
Yes, sir.
Very good.
Yes.
So now we want to write about the calcium oxide. This calcium oxide we can divide it in two parts. One is calcium, another is oxide. So we have two ions. One is calcium ion. One is calcium ion. And then we have the oxide ion. This calcium ion is Ca plus 2 and oxide ion is O minus 2. So we will write their charges 2 and 2. Then we'll write the line. The LCM of 2 and 2 is 2. So we should write the LCM here. Then we put a box under them. Then we write the multiplication sign. Now 2 ones are 2, so we will write 1 here. 2 ones are 2, so we'll write 1 here. Then we'll put the arrow this way. So now we come to know that the calcium plus 2 ion, calcium ion we need 1. So we just write Ca. The oxide ion we need 1, so we write CaO. Now you can see that this is the formula for calcium oxide. Same way, my dear students, suppose I want to write the sodium oxide. Now I want to write sodium oxide. So when I want to write the sodium oxide, I have sodium ion and I have oxide ion. So sodium ion is nothing but your Na plus 1. Oxide ion is nothing but O minus 2. So here the charges you write as 1 and here the charge is 2. Now LCM of 1 and 2, my dear students, LCM of 1 and 2 is nothing but 2 ones are 2. So we'll write 2 here, then we simply multiply them, then we put a box, and then my dear students, in the box we are going to write the number. So 1 multiplied by what, so that we get answer 2. So we multiply 1 with 2 so that we get answer 2. When we write 2 multiply with 1 so that we can answer 2. So Na plus is needed 2 and O minus 2 is needed 1. As Na plus is needed 2, my dear students, we just write Na and then 2 and then we write O. So Na2O is the chemical formula for your sodium oxide. So sodium oxide is Na2O, whereas calcium oxide is CaO. Now, my dear students, suppose we want to write aluminium hydroxide or aluminium chloride. Aluminium chloride. So here, my dear students, you need to take aluminium ion and you need to take chloride ion. Here you can see that aluminium ion is Al plus 3, whereas chloride ion is Cl minus. So here the charges you can write 3 and 1. Now my dear students, the LCM of 3 and 1 is 3. So you can easily write it this way. Then you multiply it, then you put a box over here. Then you multiply it this way and you put an arrow. Now 3 watts are 3, so it's 3 ones are, and 1 threes are 3, so we write 3. That means we need 1 aluminium, whereas 3 chlorine, so the formula is AlCl3. This is how, my dear students, you can easily write the formula for any compound you want to write. Let us look at one more example if it is possible. Let's look at the another example, my dear students. Let me clean it for you, and then let's look at the another example that we can see here. So I hope, my dear students, now you know. बच्चों आपको सब समझ में आ रहा है?